Welcome to WO50, Women Over 50 Embody Wisdom and Wellness.
Yes, we do. We embody wisdom and wellness on the road too. And that's what we're talking about today.
And in the air.
And in the air and the traveling, finding balance on the go, your guide to staying grounded during your travels. So we talked about, good tips for traveling by plane and tips for traveling by car and tips to help you with your sleep and your digestion and what else?
And your essential oils and your essentials and how to use some of the essential oils, different uses for them. Yeah, lots of ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have a bunch of essential oils and you don't know what to do with them, or somebody gave you some for Christmas and you haven't even opened them yet, Eddie and I love our essential oils. So that's just one of the things we talked about. Mm-hmm. So we hope you enjoy our travel tips and how to stay balanced on the go. You're wearing a little Canadian toque.
It's my toque, my little furry.
Uh-huh.
Toque.
You look cute. It looks like it matches your sweater.
It does. It matches my, my
snow
shoveling.
That looks like a ski sweater if I ever saw one.
It is. It's a ski sweater and it's a shoveling sweater. And off comes my toque. It matches. I'm such a Libra. I like to be matching.
You like the little matching things. It's very together.
So we've been shoveling. We got so far 7 inches of snow.
That's a lot in a couple hours.
Since that much coming again. Yeah. It started a few hours ago. So we got one round of shoveling done. So I'm a little bit pink, rosy cheeked, and
must be nice big flakes.
It's so beautiful, and it's not a blizzard. It's not windy. It's just coming down, just beautiful, and the trees are covered, and yeah, it's really pretty.
You have to send me a video or picture later.
I will on the second shovel round. So this podcast comes to you. This is after an interruption of shoveling. Thank you.
And nice since Eddie and I are both heading out of town soon, I'm heading to India tomorrow, and you're heading off on a ski vacation with a few other couples soon. So we thought we'd talk about our travel tips to find balance on the go.
Yes, how to stay grounded and focused, and just take the important stuff. Or as some people say, your passport and your visa. You're good. But we need a little bit more than that.
We do need a little bit more than that. Yeah. And I guess it's going to be different because I travel, you're not going to be taking a plane. You'll be driving for a few hours, but you're going to be out of town for about 6 days. So you'll need to pack all your warm snugglies.
The essentials, my warm stuff. You're going somewhere hot.
Well, I'm doing both. So I've got to have my plane wear, which that's my tip number 1. Is people, I don't think I've ever met anybody who isn't mortified by the amount of time it takes on the plane to get to India. It's like 7.5 hours from Nashville to London. And then it's a 13-hour flight from London to Chennai, nonstop, no gas stop or anything. And that's quick to me because I used to take 32, 38, sometimes even 42 hours to get to India back in the day when I used to first start traveling there. And because there's no easy way to get to South India. So I've learned to be a good plane traveler, and 7 hours over to London is like nothing to me. It's like literally nothing. And so being comfortable on the plane, like so when people used to come to India with me, I'd say, listen, your trip doesn't start when you land wherever you're going. Your trip starts when you start planning it. And so, because that's the fun thing. And some people get really stressed out with packing. So I'm like, it's part of your trip. So, somehow you've got to switch your mind around so that you enjoy it. And, I tend to try on clothes to make sure it's something I can see myself wearing. Like I've been trying on different jeans, even though I wear my jeans all the time, but like, oh, am I going to want to walk around London in this? It's going to be 40 or 50 degrees, 40 probably, maybe some rain. And so I start trying on clothes before. So I've got my plain outfit, which is usually a pair of nice yoga pants of some kind that are usually bell bottom, because I like the bell bottom look looks a little like it doesn't look like sweatpants, And then I've got some kind of comfy top, and I've got this poncho that I wear that's like it's like a REI, it's like a very heavy duty burgundy. It's waterproof, but it's just really handy to like flip up when I need to eat on the plane or cuddle up with when I'm sleeping. So just very comfortable clothing to wear. What do you wear on the plane?
I wear comfortable clothing, usually um, jeans that are stretchy, kind of like these aren't your mom's jeans or
On
these
a
aren't your
long
dad's
trip,
jeans.
like to
Yoga
India, you would
jeans.
wear
Sometimes,
jeans?
yeah, sometimes, and sometimes I wear the yoga pants with a long sweater. I always have a scarf.
You
I
always.
always have layers, always,
Mhm.
and definitely like a big scarf in my bag, and I wrap up in that because it's a blanket too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But the comfy stuff, yeah, no belts, no things that would dig in for
Mhm.
especially long flights. But comfort is key. I'm always looking like at these beautiful now the sweatsuit outfits, right? I'm just like, oh God, that looks really good, long sweater. And but as you're getting older, you want it lighter and not bulky and too heavy. But the whole layered effect is great. But a scarf or a hoodie and a vest, I'm really good with that too.
You're so good with layering, like you're the layering queen. You've got because you're used to packing with not taking any just to carry on. And so
Yeah,
you've got
just
stuff
carry.
that's thin that packs really light that you can layer with it. I don't
Yeah,
really have any clothes like that because I don't wear stuff like that usually. I
yeah,
have bulky stuff. I don't do carry on very well, as we've
yeah.
discussed. Yeah,
I love bulky, but I like it when I'm, sitting around a fire outside or yeah. But traveling, I just like the layers because I can peel them off. But I'll always have a vest of some kind too, whether it's a thin one, sometimes those little puffies that are really light. And
yeah, there's called sweater. You can get them as a vest, but also the jackets. So the little puffers, they're called sweater jackets that go down to like a little. So that's what I'm taking to London. So I'm not going to have it on the plane, and I'm not obviously going to use it in 90 degrees in India. But as soon as I land in London, it's going to be my best friend for 3 days.
yeah, yeah, it's great to have that. It's nice and light. And then, also, it's not very good as a head pillow because it just squishes down to nothing.
That's
That's where
true.
the neck things
Yeah.
come in really handy. I love that one you gave me. It's like a pillow or just holds your neck really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, the neck wrap. There's a neck
Yeah.
wrap. There's a couple that I like. I like the neck wrap that I got us for our trip that wraps around your whole neck, and so you can lean your head to the forward and your chin is supported, or you can lean your head side to side, or you can go back, and it's just it's almost like a neck collar. And but
Hmm.
it's soft. It's soft. I can't remember. I think it's called Wander, Wandr. I think I'll try to find the
Yeah.
link to
It
that.
feels like a Tempur-Pedic thing. It's
Yeah, it
got that
does.
kind of soft but cushiony that yeah, I love
And
that.
my second favorite, which I actually think I'm going to take to India, I think I like it a little bit more because it's less bulky. It's called a camel, and it's got one. It's in soft, fuzzy, really light material. It wraps around, and there's one little plastic cup that's like 5 inches long and 5 inches, and it's curved, and you can move it all around your neck. So instead
Oh
of being
wow.
bulky all around your neck, it's only bulky in one spot, and you can move it around everywhere. And then it's
Wow.
got a Velcro thing that you can tighten it and loosen it. So I have one of those as well that I'll be taking. So the neck pillow is important. Even if
You're
you're,
so up on all those things. You're always checking stuff out. It's great.
yeah, well, I've been going to India for 24 years now.
Wow.
That's a lot of, and back in the day, I used to go twice a year. So that's a lot of time on the plane. So I do not want to not enjoy the plane ride.
Hmm.
I look at it as downtime. I watch movies. I sleepitate, which means I meditate and then I fall asleep.
Hmm.
I have, I bring carrots and celery and cucumbers and red peppers to eat so that I don't
And you
feel
have you
bloated.
should bring your nuts and trail mix, little blend, some healthy
Yeah.
snacks just in case you're delayed, right? That's what I do as well. And I love bringing like masks. When masks came in back a few years ago, I was like, oh no, how am I going to do this? And I just started spraying essential oils on them. So when I wore them on the plane, one would smell like lavender or eucalyptus or so yeah. And then we bring our essential oils with us too.
Yeah, that
And it,
mask trick was the best thing ever. It saved me because I had to wear a mask. Was it last year or the year before? I think the last 2 years, masks were still mandatory to go to India. And so I had to wear the whole 24-hour flight. And so it saved me to put essential oils on the mask because it's antimicrobial, first of all. So it's probably even better than just the mask, but it just smells good and it just
like,
keeps smelling good.
well, it's like aromatherapy. That's what
Yeah,
I say.
I
You're
love
doing
it.
a little aromatherapy now. Yeah. So that's really nice and helpful.
Yeah. So what are
Yeah.
your favorite essential oils to travel with?
I love lavender, peppermint, most definitely, because we love peppermint for if we get those warm spells or overheated or just need to be refreshed. We feel stale or just tired. And eucalyptus, I love those. Yeah, those are my three favorite. And then I
Yep.
have a couple of blends I like. Like I love my goddess blend, and there's another one. I think what's the other one I usually bring? Geranium.
Oh yeah, you love geranium. Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah,
Hmm.
I like all those. At home I've got probably 100 essential oils. I'm not exaggerating. And
No,
then I'll buy more in India. We bought some in Sicily, both of us did. And I will travel with at least, I try to just bring 10 because I try to tell myself I can buy some when I'm there. So I'll hopefully just bring 10. So I bring the ones you mentioned. And then I also love rosemary a lot. And so I'll bring
nice,
frankincense and rosemary is a blend that I use on my solar plexus a lot that really helps me sort of cleanse and keep my energy cleansed and clear.
nice. It's a good thing to do. Do a little aromatherapy treatment on the plane, but you have to be really subtle because the scent does kind of travel.
I've never had a problem with it. Nobody's ever said anything to me.
Nobody's ever said anything, but I remember taking a little bit of lavender, and this person in front of me, she was like, "Do you smell that? Do you smell that?" And
Well, they do
and I
that all the time, but they usually love it. They're like,
yeah.
is
Oh
that you?
yeah, she wasn't offended by it. She was
Yeah.
just like curious where it was coming from, and I'm like, I think they're piping it in. No, I didn't say that.
I know the flight attendants love it. When they see me, they're like, we were wondering who was smelling so good.
Yeah.
And they always ask me advice about it. So,
Oh, and nice and little spritzers too. Remember we used to have the little water spritzer and we put
oh
a few
yes.
drops in it, and yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
was
have that
nice.
in India. I spritz myself constantly in India to keep cool because it'll be 90 when I get there. So,
Yes, there's some beautiful rose oil spritzers you can buy in little tiny bottles or just make your own. That's lovely for when we're traveling.
mm-hmm.
Um, I
Yeah.
remember
So
I used it when we were sailing, and sailing it's close quarters, and I would go in and I'd spray the whole cabin with rose oil, and and one of the guys said, "Oh, not hard to know there's a woman on the boat." Yes, sir.
that's awesome. Yeah, especially if you're close quarters with a bunch of guys, or a guy or
Yes.
two. Like, yeah,
Yeah. So I'm going around
that's
with the rose
awesome.
oil every chance I could get. And it was great because they really enjoyed it too,
Yeah,
because
of course they do. They don't think about it, but
refreshing.
they enjoy it. And that's
That's
the thing,
right.
people don't think about it. Like I can't tell you how many people I talk to this about the essential oils. And they're like, oh, that's such a good idea. People don't know how to use their oils. Like you don't just buy them and they stay in your cupboard. You should be
Yeah.
using them like every day. I put a couple drops most nights on my chest and my wrists of lavender every night before I go to bed.
Some great ideas when you've washed your towels, drop some essential oils before you throw them into the dryer on the towel. When I vacuum, I put essential oils on a little tiny bit of paper, like paper towel or tissue paper, and I let the vacuum suck it up, and you're smelling this scent the whole time, so
Instead of
it's
the
lovely.
icky vacuum smell that can happen sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, put it in your bath, put it in the shower, like just a few drops, and just enjoy the aroma. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's not just to put on your wrists or in a spray bottle. I mean, just think about every use you can place it. Some pillows, even mixing little spray bottles. I did this for my grandkids, and I told them when they spray their pillow, it helps them sleep and keeps the bad dreams away. So
Mhm. That's
yeah,
sweet. Yeah.
They love that.
Yeah, and if you do it at home, then it can be like a Pavlov's dog thing when you do it on the road. If you're the kind of person that has a hard time settling in when you're not in your own bed, that can help. I can settle in pretty much anywhere, but I doesn't mean I still don't really enjoy all of my oils, and then the next thing is all my face creams.
I know we love our vitamin C serums, and I know I have the little containers now you gave me. She gave me these little tiny containers, like little pops. They pop open when you squeeze them, and they're perfect for the amount of days I'm going on. So I have like my face cream in it. And yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're from REI, and they're little silicone pop things, and they don't take up as much room as like your whole big cream. That's actually my packing thing to do tonight because my flight leaves at 7 p.m. tomorrow night. So I've got most of the day tomorrow. I don't have to leave for the airport till 4:30 or so. But I want to be fully packed. Like I've got all my clothes packed, and that's what I do too when I'm
Take your
prepping
water bottle.
rest.
Don't
What's that?
don't forget your water bottle.
It's already actually, so this is my brand new one. I'm taking my old one and it's already in the bag. Don't worry. My
Good.
passport, everything. So I kind of do it in stages. So if I don't like to pack last minute. I like to, sometimes I'll put stuff out. Start putting stuff in the corner for especially if I go for a long time when I go places. I'm not a weekend traveler because I go either to Canada to visit my family, Canada visit you, California. It's like, and I don't go for 2 days. I'm gone for at least a week usually. So that's why I like to bring my comforts. And so I'll pack all my vitamins in little baggies. I've got these little baggies I ordered on Amazon. And so my different vitamins so I'll have one little package of vitamins. So I'll do that one night, maybe while I'm watching a TV show or something like that. And then another night, like last night, I tried on all my clothes for India and London and got that done. And then tonight is my creams night.
That's good.
So that chunking that we talked about, Gigi was saying
Yes.
she listened to our to-do list one, and she was telling everybody she works with at Nordstrom, you got to listen to this podcast. It's like how to get your taxes done, everything, you chunk it down. And it was very cute. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Gigi's awesome.
Yeah.
I miss her because I love those little travel packs and um the samples and that she had given us some, and it was great
Yeah.
because for the short little travels it's wonderful with hair, shampoo and conditioner when they're in the little small packs. Yeah, I like
That's
that.
right. The little,
Don't have to
especially
be
when Eddie makes you do a carry-on. Yeah, so the little packets that like creams and lotions come in, like a little, you can go to your favorite store or whatever, even if you don't know Gigi, you
yeah.
can go to your favorite department store or favorite store and say, do you have any sample packs of, the face oil or the face cream and whatever, and put that in your little baggie. And then that's enough to last for a couple of days usually. So
Or even when you get your little gifts at Sephora, if you buy anything there, they have these when you collect enough points, they give you whatever, the little tiny travel things, and just start saving those, just, yeah, it's
yeah.
always fun to use those. What else?
Well, I never miss my meditation. So I always tell people, especially new meditators, when they travel or they go visit their family, the first thing that stops is their meditation practice or their workout schedule. And I think we talked a little bit this like that on the Christmas schedule about your routines and staying comfortable, and just, you're going to go off balance, but try to find time to for yourself. Like, when I visit my sister, she knows I'm going to be downstairs in the morning doing my stuff, and then I come up and then I'm with the family all day, but in the morning, and that might be different for different people. I just happen to like the mornings that way. But people are understanding because they've got, if you're visiting someone, especially, like they appreciate when you have stuff to do so that they can get their stuff done,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So
yeah.
then
Well,
don't ever,
yeah. I mean, yeah, we always think we know what the other person's thinking and how they may be responding to how we're feeling, but it's not accurate.
that's right. Can't read your mind, no matter how much you love
No,
the person, you're not reading anybody's mind. So if,
no. You do you. You do
yeah,
you. Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, communication is key. and meditation. What about, yes, the snacks? We kind of grazed over that, but snacks are really important for you when you travel since you have food sensitivities.
Yeah, because I have to get the gluten-free and dairy-free things. So, I usually make up trail mixes and have, some protein bars that are going to work in a pinch. Um, if there's fruit, or vegetables cut up when, this trip we have a 7-hour drive. So I'll always have food ready and a little bag packed. So yeah. And there's grocery stores along the way. But when you fly, you got to be
Yeah, because the
um,
plane food, no matter, even if you're in first class, which I never travel first class, but I mean, I've flown first class maybe 3 or 4 times in my life, but even that food, yes, they make it fresh, but it's still plain food. And
yeah.
it's your body, your tummy is contracting. You know how a water bottle goes like this when like, it sucks, and when you open it,
Mhm.
it puffs. Your belly's doing the same thing when you fly.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
not a
yeah, that's
great,
why. Well,
yeah.
and that's why people get constipated when they fly. Well, those who have trouble with their bowels or IBS, and it gets them, it might take them 2 or 3 days to get back to their routine again, especially after a long flight. So they have to be prepared. So I always say to people, a couple of days before you fly, load up on water. Just make sure you've eaten nice fiber, and if you need to take something, do that when you land, something that a stool softener or something
Or
to get
how about drinking smooth move tea? I've got that for the plane ride.
up, smooth move tea, so things like that that gets the bowel kind of going again. Yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't feel good when I've helped so many people because they'll land in India and they won't have thought ahead because they think of having loose stool when they come to India once they start on the food, which that might happen too. But on the flight over, you're probably going to be more the other way. And
Yeah.
so I am very preemptive with that.
Mhm.
Because I know when I fly, even though I drink a lot of water and I walk, but it's such a long flight, I know I'm going to be a little constipated the first day or two. So I just go ahead and drink smooth mood tea or take our little renew capsules and just do it preemptively, and then there's no
Yeah,
problem.
and get up and walk, when you can, when the seatbelt flicky things off. Get up, walk around, stretch your legs. I forget, I
You
get
ever
the
gotten
luggage.
up when the seatbelt sign is on?
No.
I have. You have to
Yeah.
on those long flights because sometimes they're ridiculous and it's like
And they
they
click
forget
on.
to turn it off or something. And you see people all the time, you get up and you gotta go, you gotta go, So I won't go if it's super turbulent, but if it's just a little rocky or it's just I'll get up and go. I'm not trying to break the rules, but goodness gracious, sometimes they leave it on too long.
Yeah, but sometimes the window gets popped out of the plane. No,
No, that does not
that,
happen.
yeah, that happened. That was on the news last week.
What?
And yeah, there was on takeoff, they weren't at 10,000 feet.
Yeah.
And I forget where it was. And the window to the exit, there was nobody in the exit lane. And the window didn't pressure right and it popped out. So the pilot landed the plane. There was no serious injuries. Everyone had their seatbelt on. And yeah,
Because they
yeah,
would have been sucked out.
yeah, the whole side door thing anyway. But it was just, I forget what um, airline it was.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it
I
was.
didn't watch it all last night, but I was kind of flicking through the channels, and there's a documentary on the plane that disappeared. What was it, 10 years ago when that flight number
Oh,
11
yes.
or whatever it
Yeah.
was disappeared, and it because it was going across the ocean to have Malaysia or something, and all of a sudden just completely disappeared. So I think
Yeah.
again, I'm getting ready to fly tomorrow across the ocean.
And we're talking about that. You'll be fine. I mean, I'm up here on an island. These planes are landing every day here, and I'm watching. Wow, that like I'm going, okay, this is definitely getting turbulence because they're coming in and I'm always amazed. I mean, when people land here, often they applaud the pilot
Yeah,
because
yeah, for
because
sure.
it's
I
yeah.
chant. I chant and I close my eyes and I chant internally because and so I don't get nervous. Or if
Mhm.
I do feel myself getting nervous, I chant and then I'm totally fine.
I always visualize the plane landed. I try and visualize in my head just the gentle landing, and that I'm practicing how it's going to happen in my head, right? So that has worked many times, and I've shared that with lots of people, and they'll say the same thing. They go, yeah, I see myself there. I see myself at the beach. I see myself. So you're not thinking
You're
thoughts.
not feeding the fears.
Negative, right?
You're not
Yeah.
feeding the fears, because if
Yeah.
fear is natural to happen when you're out of control, not in your control, that's then the pilots and the weather and all that, and it can be,
Yep.
planes can be quite turbulent. And
Yep.
so, but I don't want to live, because I fly a lot, I don't want to live in that fear.
Yep.
So there's all these different techniques you can use, like visualization, or being grateful for, visualizing the landing, or chanting, or
Yep.
listening to good music, or whatever it
Yeah.
is. But to
Yeah.
sit there and go into the fear is not a good idea.
Yeah. I think what we do is we reframe the negative into a more positive outlook.
Yeah, when it's
That's
appropriate, because you
yes.
don't want to bounce out of the present moment and not
No.
on. But no, I know what you're saying. I just wanted to preface that, because
Yes.
because it is important to honor where you are. But if you're flying
Sure.
and your fear is a little bit irrational because you don't have any control anyway, then
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you wanna distraction is a good plan. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah, so really it's a mindset too, like everything is a mind game in life. And so if you're, whether you're heading somewhere where you're excited about, or you're heading somewhere where you're a little bit hesitant about, whatever it is, whether it's a business trip, I help a lot of people that are heading out on business trips that aren't excited, about leaving the family, and they're already stressed out and stuff. And so really just taking care, whether it's bringing yummy snacks, or, watching a fun series, or, just changing your mind about it, and don't just stay stuck in the dread, you know.
Yeah. Download some movies or documentaries to watch, on your computer. Music. You might want to listen to an album that you haven't heard. And yeah, I like to do that. I like to download some podcasts or music or artists that I'm interested in hearing that I haven't sat back and listened to. And yeah, you can
Did
do
you?
that on a drive or a plane.
Yeah, exactly. Did you listen to Brandy Carlisle's book by chance?
No, I haven't.
Oh
Not
man, you
yet.
love it. It's so good.
I
I did
will
a
make a
couple
note.
last year. It came out, maybe it's 2 years ago. Brandy Carlisle's Audible book, and it's way better on Audible because she sings too, and she has
Ah,
unique songs. So she'll tell, she talks about her childhood, and then talks, about how long it took her to make it in the music business, and she'll have different songs about different times in her life, and it's just a really interesting story, really well done. So even if you're
well,
not an Audible person, it's well worth a listen. So stuff
okay.
like that, can be a good entertainment and distraction as well. So
Yes.
let me look back on our list. Oh, Eddie's really good on with staying with her wipes and her disinfectant too. When we were traveling, you would constantly be spritzing my hands, because I listened to the Huberman podcast about how colds and flus are passed on. And he's like, as soon as the scientific studies show that as soon as you hug someone, or greet someone, or shake their hand, you touch your face within like 10 seconds of touching another person. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's where what masks can help, because you can't touch your nose, but you can still touch your eyes. So when you're out and about, before you touch your face, because that's how most of these things pass.
Yes.
It's not so much
Yes.
in the air, although some things are shared in the air, but a lot of times it's touching. Put your sanitizer on, or have your wipes available there, and just be constantly sanitizing your hands, because we do touch our face a lot.
And this is where, when you have your little small spray sanitizers that you carry with you, where you can add lavender, essential oil to get a nice smell. But yeah, you want to, even when I go in and out of stores, as soon as I get in the car, I spray my hands.
You do.
And even when I'm with the grandkids, like their little hands, I'm like, they know it's coming. Like their hands are out like this, right in the car. They got their seatbelt on and they do. It's just habit now. Because
Uh,
I've said that to them. You've touched a million things. We don't know who's carrying germs and who's dropped them off, and they don't mean to do that, but let's just make sure we don't put them into our body.
yeah, that's so cute. Yeah, you have
Yeah.
such a good habit. It's your medical background. It's so good. You've helped me with that because I didn't used to be very good at
Listen,
that.
I remember years ago before COVID, I used to wipe down my tray where I was going to be eating on the plane, and the seat belt and the lock and the sides, right? Anything that I was going to touch. And I remember one time the one flight attendant said, you can't do that. The plane's already been sanitized, and now they don't complain. But I'm like, my, how times have
Yes,
changed,
it does change. That's crazy, isn't it? Wow.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Um,
now
so you
I
know
don't
what
know.
else I bring? I bring, especially on the long flight like this, but it's also good if you're in a new bed or a new room. I bring an eye mask, a face mask. I find an eye mask because a lot of people like I don't like anything too weighted on my face or my eyes. So I've got a really nice silk one that's very nice, and I wear that on the plane, and it helps me sleep because a lot of times I have to sleep sitting up. And I'll
Mm.
have my neck pillow and I'll have my eye mask. And as long as it's dark, because Eddie's different because she can't
That's
stand
right.
it dark, which is another reason when we were sleeping in the same room, I'd
Yeah.
sometimes have to wear the mask because she has to have a light cracked a little bit because she starts seeing psychedelic images as soon as if
Yeah.
it's too black.
It's
So it's
pitch
different.
black. It is the wildest thing
Yeah.
ever since I was a child.
Yeah.
I could see that it's like chalk drawings, and I've met some people like that since, but I was like, okay, what is that? What is that? It's just brain activation.
And I
So
like
I'm
it
addicted.
dark. The darker the better. And most places I sleep at, like even I've got new neighbors and they've got lights on that they leave all night, and my curtains aren't thick. I don't wear a mask every night, but I do like a very dark room. And also earplugs. That's another thing, is like a lot of people are bothered by noise. And I've got
Mhm.
some ideas for you, Miss Eddie, because Eddie is definitely bothered by noise when she
I
travels.
am. I
And
am. And those little earplugs, because again, a lot of people, including me, we have a little short ear canal. And so those things just they push and they give you a headache, or they pop out and they don't seal. And honestly, I've had things custom made. I had those little roly rubber ones that you had, and I'm like, oh my God. And even falling asleep, like there's times, if my partner's snoring and he's over snoring, and I'm like, okay, good, he's asleep. Okay, I don't want to wake him up. So I'll put my fingers in my ear. And then I'm like, okay, that's starting to hurt now. I don't like my fingers. So yes, I'm bothered by
Princess and the
sound.
Pea,
Yep,
Princess.
I can't help it.
Yeah, so I do travel with earplugs, usually for other people. Not that I'm noisy or anything like that, I'm a pretty flexible person. But some people aren't, I just happen to be very flexible. I can sleep anywhere. I like it dark, but I can sleep if needed when it's light. I like it quiet, but I can sleep when it's noisy. But some people are just not great. I've got several friends that they are not great travelers, but they like to travel. And so you just have to find what works for you, do a research on, find out, what kind of things help you when you're sleeping in unknown, because, even if you spend extra money to get a good hotel that's a quiet room, um, sometimes it's not totally quiet.
That's right. And then also some people when they travel, if it's a long distance, if they're that jet lag sets in, and some like to use melatonin for a reset. It's interesting. I've never taken melatonin, but lots of people, I advise them to take it. And I just find like we're all different. So as long as I can get my sleep in, I have no trouble falling asleep. Even when I went through menopause, there might have been 2 or 3 days where I had, issues falling asleep. But for the most part, it's if it's quiet and the room is not too dark, and let me go down my list.
Yes, yes,
I
Eddie
can
does have a
sleep then.
list. Yeah.
No, it's there is that sleep hygiene. When you know what your sleep hygiene is and it's in place, and you want to travel, then there's going to be times where your sleep is going to be interrupted, and then you just kind of move through it the best you can.
Gracefully
If
as
you're
you
going,
can. I love what Deepak used to say, and I do this is like, and I don't, I try not to shame people, but I definitely give people lectures when they do it. So some people will keep their watch the same time as it is at home, and I'm like, you are here now. So I don't
Mhm.
care if you want to keep your watch on the other time, because you're constantly going to be looking at that other time then. And so you're here now. So Deepak used to say, because he traveled so much, he's like, I have to be on whatever time zone I'm in. And then I don't think about the time zone I was in. And a
Yeah.
way to help ground yourself, a lot of people, we're actually affected by the electromagnetic frequency of the earth. And so when we're flying, we're not on the earth. And that's what a lot of what jet lag is caused by is your body. So grounding, getting your bare feet and walking in the grass, if it happens to be summer or sand or whatever, and actually, or even just taking a walk, even if you have shoes on, that actually does help jet lag. And then looking at the sun when you land so that your body sort of knows, where the sun is. And the morning sun is good because it's a different light in your brain. So there's different hacks that you can use, and other than, your mindset, but also just deciding wherever you land, that's the time you're in. And don't be doing math to figure out what time it is at home unless you've got a call back home, because
Right.
you're here, be here now.
That's right. That's good. That's good advice. Yes. And absolutely. That's why a lot of people rush to the ocean or to the beach or
Yeah.
they land somewhere warm, right? And it's a reset and they're sitting in the sun and they're, yeah, recalibrating.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's helps your body's clock get on that time zone as well. So
Yes.
yeah.
So
So
you're doing a big travel and I'm doing a little travel, but we still need our essentials. We still, have our little kits that we take with us and our go-tos and um yeah,
and
it's
if you
it's
forget something, you can always buy it. That's what my
that's
mom
right.
always said.
That's right.
Don't
That's
stress
right.
about packing. Do your best you can. And if you forget anything, you just buy some more. It'll give you an opportunity to go shopping wherever you are and to see the
Mhm,
stores and to get out and about. And so that's no problem at all.
mhm.
Yeah.
So, going shoveling snow now.
So
You think about me while you're in warm, hot India.
I'll call you and there'll be the birds chirping in the background. There's always big macaws cawing and stuff when I'm in India. And you'll be on with your hat and I'll be on with my Indian cottons in the sun.
Yes, and I'll say, have a good day,
All right, Ed, that was so good. So y'all leave if you're new to us, thank you for joining us, and please consider sharing it because it does really help us if you share the podcast and if you write a review. We don't have many reviews, and so it would really, really be helpful if you go ahead and write a review, figure out how to write those stars and write the review. That would be so helpful for us. And because it actually does take a lot of work to put these things on. Eddie and I sit here and talk, and then I work 3 hours on every episode to publish the episode. So it does take a lot of our time, and we do it because we love you and we love each other. And,
right?
we're all in this together.
Absolutely. Love y'all.
See you next time.
See you next time.